it's Rob. Welcome to Axel's Garage. Today I'm doing a torque test on one of my newest tools, which is the Milwaukee Stubby M12 3/8 impact. And I got this, got a little adapter on it. It's a 3/8 Stubby. I got this because it had some good reviews and possibly it's a real easy, small tool to use doing tires. Now, I also got it in the 3/8 instead of the 1/2 inch. They make this exact one with a 1/2 inch anvil instead of the 3/8 anvil. I got the 3/8 because I figured being it's so small, 3/8 sockets under the hood, under the car, the small, everything's small, 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 small. And then if I wanted to use it for lug nuts, you can step up with an adapter which does, cut some torque. I think if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have got the 1/2 inch, and then when I use the 3/8 stuff, step down to 3/8. But either way, it's the same tool, just a different anvil. So, I watched a lot of reviews online, and everybody was talking about loosening torque, and nobody really talking about forward torque. So, what I was going to do is just do a couple little simple tests with a bolt I have here, double nutted in a vise, and I wanted just to see what if I could figure out the tightening torque and the loosening torque in each of the 3 drive modes that it has. So starting off the test, I'm going to use a fully charged battery right out of the charger, and I'm going to use a 2 amp hour battery just to see if there's a difference. I have 2s and I have 3s in the 12s. Maybe I'll do a video with 4s and 6s later on, but in this one I only have 2s and 3s. We'll see if there's any bit of a difference. So what I'm going to do is put my adapter on. I'm going to put it on mode 1, and there's a 15/16 nut that I'm using, and on mode 1, let's make sure this is loose first before I use it. It's actually in there pretty tight, so let's just back it off. I don't know how tight that is in there. I'm backing it off. So let's see here. Alright, so we got it backed off with our big one. And what I'm going to do, I'm in mode 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to seat it and then give it a bump until it stops, and that's why I put some tape with some lines on my sockets so I could see what's going on. So I'll run it down, okay, and it's seated, and now I'm just going to give it a trigger pull until I see the lines not moving anymore. Okay, I'm there. Now I got my torque wrench set on 40 foot-pounds. Remember, this is mode 1, and I'm going to see if this actually tightens it at 40, and it does not. So at 40 it's good. So let's back it off. Doesn't really want to back off. No, it ain't backing off on mode 1 at 40. So that'll give you some indication. At 40 foot-pounds, mode 1 is not going to back off. So let's see. Tighten it back down on 40. Okay, so that's it for 40. Still got 4 bars. Not 40. That's it for mode 1. So I'm going to bump mode 1 up to 50 foot-pounds. And it does turn. So we know we're somewhere in between 40 and 50 with mode 1. So now let me loosen this up. Now remember, that was with the 2 amp hour battery. So now if I take that 2 amp hour battery out and put the 3 amp hour battery in, also fully charged. Okay, go back to mode 1. Alright. Now remember, torque wrench is at 50 now. and I moved it just a hair again. So there's not much of a big difference between the 3 and the 2 amp hour battery. Let's see if it'll pull it off. Remember, it wouldn't pull it off in mode 1 with the smaller battery. Not pulling it off in mode 2 with the smaller battery. If I go over to mode 3, boom, it's off right away. Alright, so the 2 and the 3 battery are about the same. Mode 1 is going to give you, let's call it 45 foot-pounds for this non-scientific test. So now we're going to go to mode 2. I'm going to change batteries back to the smaller battery. Okay, and we are going to drive it in mode 2 with the smaller battery. Alright, and now we're at 50. We're hoping it's going to be more than 50 because we went from mode 1 to mode 2. So we're at 50. And at 50, I'm not moving my socket. So let's pull it off. Alright, and we are going to put it back on. Alright, so we're on, and we're going to bump this up to 60 foot-pounds. 60 foot-pounds, and not moving yet. So with more than 60, let's pull it back off. We're getting close because we can't pull it back off in mode 2. So we'll have to use mode 3 to pull it back off. Mode 2, put it back on. And the reason why I keep pulling it off and putting it back on is because each time you click it with the torque wrench, you are actually applying a little bit more torque. So now we're going to move this up to 70. Alright, now let's see. We were mode 2 with the small battery. And we did ever so slightly move that. So we're right about, I would call that between 65 and 70 with the small battery. Okay, so in mode 2 at anywhere between 65 and 70, alright, we're not going to take this off. Not coming off. Alright, on mode 3, comes right off. Alright, so now, that was the small battery. So let's see if the bigger battery, the 3 amp hour, which is not really a big battery, but people have reported better performance with the higher amp hour batteries, and that's why we're doing it this way. So now in mode 2 with the 3 amp hour battery. Now remember, we were at 70 before. We're going to try 70 again, see if it moves it ever so slightly or if it just clicks. And I'm saying it moved it ever so slightly. So right about 70 in mode 2. Alright, so. Alright, loosened up. So let's go back to the small battery. So 2 amp hour battery, 3 amp hour battery, I'm not seeing really any difference. Alright, so now we are the smaller battery in mode 3, which is its most power. Milwaukee doesn't rate the modes in torque, they rate the modes in RPM and impacts per minute. Alright, so we're tight in mode 3. Now we were at 70. Alright, so let's step it up in mode 3. I'm just going to step it up to 100 because I'm hoping that it's more than 100. So bring my torque wrench to 100 and let's see if we move it at all. Not moving it at all. So at 100, still not moving it. So we know that this is doing 100 at least 100 in mode 3 with an adapter and the small battery. So let's see if it'll pull it off at 100. Pulled it off no problem at 100. Okay, so we are going to tighten it one more time. Okay, it's in there good and tight. We'll step this up to, let's go to 120. And no, my torque wrench hasn't been calibrated probably ever since it was purchased. Then somebody gave it to me. So it's been used, not really abused, but hasn't been calibrated. This isn't a scientific test. This is a guy in his garage, just see him, getting an idea of what the tool will do so I know when I'm using it, what I'm doing with it. Alright, so now we're at 120. No movement. No movement at 120, small battery. Alright, so we got it pulled off. Still got 4 bars, small battery. Tighten it up again. Alright. 120. Let's go 130. Locked in at 130. And I do have a little movement. Just a hair. Alright, so we're going to call it 125. Didn't do 120. 130 moved it, 125. So what I'm going to do now is spin it off. Now remember, I had it at 130 on the torque wrench and it clicked. So this just broke with the small battery, 130. So now we're going to take this battery out. I'm going to put the big battery in. 4 bars. I'm going to tighten it in. Alright, and now we're at 130 again on the torque wrench. No, we're at 130 on the torque wrench. And I got a little bit of movement. Again, battery didn't matter. I got the same amount of movement I had with the small battery. Alright, so we're torqued at 130 with the torque wrench. On mode 3, we're pulling it off. Alright, and the big battery actually struggled a little bit more than the other one. That's just variables and everything going on, but it pulled it off. Okay. So what did that show us? Our tightening torque with either battery, about 130, all right, and with the adapter. So if I had a 3/8 impact socket that would go on here, maybe we could eke out 140. The difference between 130 and 140, that 10 foot-pounds, when you actually do it with a torque wrench, it's just barely moving it in Bowman's at 140. And to prove that, right, I'll spin this on, okay? So we know this is about 125 or so, all right? And I'm going to bump this to 140. Okay, right here at 140, which for passenger cars and light trucks, like, quarter-ton trucks, 140 is probably the highest you're gonna get on my Suburban. 140 on my Ram. They're 140 on the Jeeps and the cars. They're lug nuts are at 95, 100 pounds. So I might not be able to do the trucks with this as far as lug nuts go, and I have the big one I could use. But I might be able to do the passenger cars. I'll definitely be able to do. But let's see. 140. So if we had one that's torqued up to 140, you see, I'm going to move the camera in, right? So we're at 125-ish, almost 130. And I'm going to move the camera in and show you. So now I got the camera in. I'm going to show you the difference. We tighten this up, right? We're about 125 to 130, just under 130 we're at. and I'm going to bring it to 140. And if you watch these lines, look how little it's going to move until I hit that 140. Right, if that moved a 1/16 of an inch, that's a lot to get to the 140. All right, so as you saw, that 140, it barely moved. All right, and here we are back. We're at mode 3. I got 140 here. I got 4 bars. I got the 3-0 battery. Let's see if we can break a 140 loose. All right. Took a little work, but it broke the 140 loose. I know they say 250. I know I've seen videos of guys claiming to torque it to 250 and pull it off. You just saw 140. This is a grade 8 bolt. It's got a washer on it. The threads are good. I got just a drop or two when I started this of 3-in-1 oil on it. The threads aren't galled up. Bolt spins on nice. All right, this is the result that I'm getting. Now, could it be the 3-amp-hour battery? Maybe. Let's give it one last shot, just for shits and giggles. I got it on forward. All right. You spin it back like you would, let's say, a regular faster or a lug. You put it on a couple turns. All right. Got it on forward. Right. And you saw it took about 5-7 seconds to break that one free. So let's give it, 5-7 seconds putting it on and see what happens. Alright, I went 7 seconds counting in my head. Alright, this is at 140. I am going to back it down to 130. Lock it in at 130, and let's see if we got any movement, leaving it on there a little bit longer. None. No movement whatsoever. So, could we have hit that 140? I guess this test isn't over yet. I thought it was going to be over. Not getting it off this time. Oh, we're down at two bars. Let's see if a fresh battery will help. It's not the monster that people claim it to be. Down to 3 bars now on this battery. Alright, so where were we? We were trying to see if we could get the 140 out of this. And I had hit 130. Right, it didn't move at 130 by leaving it 7 seconds. So let me tighten for 7 seconds. Bring it to the 140 and see where it is. Wow. You guys notice that? That could affect the reading as well. The impacting was actually loosening my vise up a little. This position back in. Get that in as tight as we could. Alright, so we impacted 7 seconds, just like we did before. It didn't move at 130. So we are going to crank it up to the 140. Which really is my target in this test. Alright, watch it. Let's see. Did not move. So it's putting out more than the 140. Now let's see if we can get this off. Came right off too, look at that. Alright, so mode 3, tightening. 7 seconds once it hits. Alright, we have it on that for 7 seconds. I'm going to bump this up to 150, which is where this test is going to end because my torque wrench doesn't go higher than 150. And we're going to see if this thing moves. And I got no movement at 150. So, small battery, 3 amp hour, 2 amp hour, they seem to be the same according to my unscientific test. Adapter in place, it's an impact adapter, it's a quality impact adapter, impact socket, and giving it 7 seconds on the trigger is putting me north of 150 foot-pounds. So can you do lug nuts? Yeah. Those 140 lug nuts, are you going to have to give it a little gun? Yeah. You know, can you use the big one if you have it? Yeah. But regular passenger car stuff, taking lug nuts on and off, shouldn't be an issue with this. And there's your readings, 1, 2, and 3. So at 3, you're hitting about an easy 125 without killing, you know, really running the tool. In 2, I believe I think we were about 65. I'll put it up on the screen when I edit. And then in 1, we were like 55, maybe it was 55, 70. And then in mode 3, just giving it a blurp, letting it seat and leaving your finger on the trigger for a second or so was putting you right around 125, and 7 seconds on the trigger were putting us above 150. So could you use it for lug nuts? Yeah, you could. Does it have decent tightening torque? Absolutely. So and that's with these small batteries. People have made videos where they went from a 2 amp hour battery to a 6 amp hour battery, and the tool was doing some amazing stuff. I'll have to try that myself. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but we know we're north of 150 on this fastener right here. This battery's got 4 bars. Let's see that other one that went down to 2 bars because we're really working it. Let's see how many bars it has. It caught up a little bit. Now it's back to 3 bars. So we'll use the 3-bar battery in reverse. We're over 150 on this one. And it takes it off. Alright? Only had to work at it for maybe 2 seconds and it blew it off. So it's definitely going to take off some heavy fasteners. You need to, my whole thing is, now you have a baseline in your head and you know what the capabilities are in each thing. And a lot of people don't talk about tightening, and because they say, oh, you don't tighten with a torque wrench, you know, you run it down and then you torque it with a regular wrench. Come on, let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. You tighten yourself with torque wrenches, impacts. People do it all the time. They do lug nuts and not use torque sticks, which we're going to do a video on. But people do that all the time. So if you have an idea of where you're at, of how much trigger you got to give it to get to the torque levels that you might want to get to, it gets you in the ballpark, and it gets you to understand what it is. I like it. I like it. I think I might have got the half-inch version if I was to do it over again. This way I don't have to use an adapter on the big stuff, and on the small stuff I can just adapt it down. This way you don't lose that torque by going from the small to big. So that's it today from Axel's Garage. Hope you enjoyed the video. A little bit different than the ones that are out there that only show the braking free torque, which generally speaking is supposed to be like 20% less than the torque the bolt is tightened at. But tightening torque, you know, a lot of guys want to tighten stuff up and use this to put them on as well as take it off, and hopefully this will get you in that ballpark. Hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have one of these. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. That's all we got for today. Thanks for watching.